Hello there, everybody! This is Azumanga Daioh speaking, and I'm back with another commentary. Guys, you're in for a treat, because today...
We sure as hell are, because today I would like to explain why Azumanga Daioh fan's newest commentary was completely horrible. Now, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against Azumanga Daioh fan. She's a good enough person, and she's a decent enough commentator. She really is. But the one that she recently uploaded on some dude making a review of Azumanga Daioh, wow, this is just, wow. I wonder why he made that commentary, Azumanga Daioh fan, burp. But this guy recently made a review of Azumanga Daioh, and Azumanga Daioh fan came back and made a commentary on it because she believed it was horrible shit! Now, the issue that I had with this was that she really didn't raise any real counter arguments against what the guy was saying. And the video that she commentated on was nothing more than a synopsis of the characters. It really wasn't what the guy thought of the series, it wasn't really his overall thoughts of the series, it was just a character synopsis. Now, yes, she raised a couple of good points here and there, one about him just in essence plagiarizing what's written on Wikipedia as far as the characters are concerned. And his comments about schoolgirls and how in Japan they wear out our uniforms at school, but in the US we don't. But the biggest issue with this is everything else in the video. The first thing I want to point out is that there are a whole lot of segments in the video that Azumanga Daioh fan did that is nothing but dead space as far as she's concerned. It's nothing but the review. In total, there is a section of about 5 minutes in this video that is nothing but the review. Now, I'm not saying that these are small, short segments of, okay, she let the guy talk for about 30-45 seconds, raised a counterpoint. No, this is where she didn't say jack shit for about a minute and a half, then raised a counterpoint that was completely pointless. And I'll point these out each in just a second. And now here's the issue with that. The video itself is about 10 minutes long. Now, if you take away the intro and the outro, that leaves a total of about 8 minutes left in the video. 8 minutes that is the actual commentary. And out of those 8 minutes, there's 5 minutes that's absolutely nothing of a commentary. That's just the actual original review. No counterpoints, nothing from Azumanga Daioh fan. Now, the sections that she did this, there was 1 minute and 26 seconds right before she brought up the Wikipedia comment about how the guy is in essence just straight up stating that Wikipedia is what he's reading and plagiarizing. And immediately after that comment, she doesn't say jack squat for 1 minute and 47 seconds before taking a joke seriously. And taking a joke as something that he honestly thought was a negative item to the series. And I'll play this section for you right here.
Echo, who loves luring her close so he can buy her. Little bastard.
Yeah, Mr. Azuma, how dare you ever run and gag in your anime/manga series?
The issue with this Azumanga Daioh fan, that was not a serious comment from the guy. I watched the goddamn video. He wasn't being serious about that. He was just making a joke and continuing explanation of the character. That's part of the character explanation. Cats despise her. And there is one cat in the series that is non-stop terrorizing her. It wasn't him going, you know, goddammit! In this series, if it hadn't been for that fucking cat, it would have been a great series! But they put that fucking cat in there, and it's now horrible! I don't know if you were attempting to make a joke, but it fell flat if you were. Because you were getting on his case for making a joke about a joke in the series, which is just pathetic. And then after that, there is 1 minute and 36 seconds of nothing where Azumanga Daioh fan finally says something and takes him out of context when he's talking about Yukari. Now, I will give a brief synopsis of this part. The guy who was doing the review talks about Yukari, the girl's teacher, and how she's a little bit schizophrenic, she's out there, she's really hyperactive, and she's an attention seeker. To in which Azumanga Daioh fan comes back and says this.
Oh, and one more thing. This bitch can't drive for jack shit. I'm not even kidding with you. Her driving is so bad that Shio-chan was traumatized for life.
Funny that you mention that, because I know of another character that has a similar personality and is from the exact same series. Do you remember talking about Tomotakino earlier in the video? Well, basically, Yukari is like an adult version of her. Hell, there's even a whole section on one of the Wikipedia pages that you're obviously reading off of that explains this. So, with that said, how come it's okay for Tomo to have a similar personality, yet when Yukari acts like this, all of a sudden it becomes a problem? Now, you could argue that at least with Tomo, she does care for her friends in her own way, but I'm just going by his abridged Wikipedia descriptions here.
Now, ADF. Yes, I'm just going to call you that because it's a lot easier than saying Azumanga Daioh fan. Go back and watch that segment again. Where in that entire segment did he say that it was a bad trait of hers? He just said that this is part of her. This is her. She's an attention seeker. She kind of forces her best friend to accept it and or enable her actions. He doesn't say, this is the worst fucking character of the show because she acts this way. That's not what he was goddamn saying. My God. And outside of that, the first point that you raise against his video was about him commenting on how much he loves girls in school uniforms. How much he loves it, and that's one of his favorite things about Japanese schools. And you say, well, I guess it's a good thing they don't have any other animes with that hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. As him saying that that was a bad thing, or that's the only reason to watch this show. Or that is one of the best parts about Azumanga Daioh, is that they are in uniforms. And sexy little Japanese schoolgirl uniforms. That's not what the guy was fucking saying. He was just making a joke. There was also this section where he was talking about the title for Azumanga Daioh, the actual name of the series, and how it had nothing to do with the series at all, to which you said this.
The title of the series has no particular significance to the story.
And so do a lot of other animes. But the funny thing is, this had potential to be interesting trivia if there was a bit more of an explanation behind it, but as is, we don't get any of that. So, if you weren't going to explain why the title was irrelevant to the story, then why have it in the review at all? You could have just cut this part out, and nothing would have changed that much.
Now, it's really hilarious that you call him out and say, well, I wish you would have given some kind of explanation as for why it doesn't fit to the series, because now that entire segment was pointless and it had nothing to do with this review. When immediately after what you said, this happens.
The title Azumanga Daioh would be translated as Great King Azumanga in English. However, the English publishers seem to decide to leave Azumanga Daioh as it is in Japan. Probably because some of the English-speaking otakus would be confused by the title if they left Great King instead of Daioh, seeing that there is no king in this manga.
He gave an explanation as for why the name didn't fit the series. So overall, the biggest issue with this commentary was that there was a total of about 3 minutes in the entire video that was Azumanga Daioh fan raising any points. Now, the most hilarious part to me, though, is this that she says during her ending statements of the commentary.
Well, folks, now that the video's over, it's time to give my final thoughts. Wow. I mean, wow, is this review lazy.
After all, how lazy do you have to be to make a 10-minute video where a majority of it isn't even you talking? How lazy do you have to be to make 2 completely pointless statements in a commentary out of 6 statements that you make? How lazy is it to make 2 statements in a commentary that are completely taking the person you're making a commentary on out of context when you only raise a total of 6 points in your commentary? And I didn't even count the one section where all you did was say, well, I thought we already started the review, which can also be considered a pointless statement. Now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against ADF, Azumanga Daioh fan, and the person that she did a commentary on was a horrible reviewer. He was monotone, completely and totally monotone. My God, if I had to actually sit down and watch his review without something else to keep me entertained, I feel I would have fell asleep. I wouldn't be able to sit through part 2 of his review. But overall, I just have to say, the commentary that you did, Azumanga Daioh fan ADF, was just really, really, really lazy.